Welcome everybody, it's Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Before we dive into the actual analysis, just want to go over a couple of things that have been validated here. We were looking for the potential that from this point we could see something like a 5-wave structure up. This is now invalidated, so we've removed those off of the charts. Now we were also talking about here that this could become WXY, but we pushed up too high, so that is also invalidated. We're looking at the potential of this being a flat correction, looking for that 5-wave move. This one has also invalidated. Now, this one has not invalidated completely. Looking at this as a B wave, the problem is now counting this B wave to the downside becomes quite problematic if this is the case, though we are still within that typical zone that we are looking for here. If we do see this hold this area, effectively we could still potentially look for something like this as a C wave to the upside. Going to be keeping an eye on this. The thing is that this as a B wave is getting quite large in itself, so it starts to become more probable that if this is a complex move here, that we potentially have a completed move here and we're going to see a bigger move to the upside, something like this, but not in a C wave, not in a 5-wave move to the upside, but rather as something that could potentially start with a flat and then we see a bigger corrective structure develop. We're going to go over that within the video. Okay, so let's go over the main ideas here of what we were tracking. So we still have the bullish counter live saying that what we are looking for is this is a 1, this is a 2, and we're looking for that possibility of a bigger third wave to the upside. Now we have come down just above our 0.382 here. If we are looking at this as a move that could potentially reverse from this point here, what we'd be saying is our 1.618 would be here at this 42,023. So if we do see price action start to develop 5-wave moves to the upside, I will be tracking the potential of this third wave actually developing, and then we'll have to wait for the price action to confirm this. Now, if we are looking at this as a bigger corrective move, we need to be careful of the idea that this could be W. We have this as a flat up into this X wave, and we're looking for a bigger Y wave here. Now, the minimum requirement we'd be looking for as a Y wave would be this 0.618, which is sitting here towards this 28,416. 1-to-1 would be this 26,507. So because we're looking for this potential of a 3-wave move down here, we need to be on the lookout for this move actually starting to get even bigger here, because if we look at the time comparison, we have started to match this W wave, but there is still time to develop if we are looking at this X wave here. So if we do see price do something like this, we could potentially still be within this bigger Y wave. So that's what I'm looking out for here. Now the alternative to this is saying that what we have here is that this move actually completes into this high here, and what we're looking for is a C wave to the downside. C wave targets would be this 25,360 to this 23,664 to this 23,646 as a potential C wave if it's going to be expanding. Now the 1-to-1 of this would also be up here towards this 26,481, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. And what we'd be wanting to see here then is actually a bigger 5-wave structure developed to the downside. So we're actually going to come in here now and we're going to discuss some of the shorter term moves that are playing out within this. Now we were talking about the possibility that this could be a flat as a Y wave. Now within this structure, what we were saying is that we could have this as A, this could be B, and then we were looking for a C wave. Now the only way that we can work this as a C wave that isn't going to actually extend out towards this lower area here, this 2618, which would be this 26,931, would be saying that within this count here, what we have is something like this, where this actually becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, this is a valid count because if we have an extension within the wave 1, effectively the only thing we need to be careful of is that this wave 3 is not the shortest wave. Now, if this is the case, what this means is that wave 3 cannot cross this 28,028 level, and it would mean that we're looking for a 5-wave structure here. Now, the problem is within here, we need to be very careful because there is also the potential we have a series of 1s and 2s here, which could mean we have a bigger sell-off. If, however, we are looking at the idea that we went over of the bigger triangle yesterday, where we're saying that this could be A, B, C, D, and E. Alternatively, D and E could be up here in a really short wave, but it would make more sense looking at the internal of this move that this would be D and E in this way. Effectively, that could mean that this could be actually a 5th wave completed, but we'd only get confirmation by breaking back above these highs. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this idea. There is also, like I said, the potential here that if we do complete into this high over here, we could still have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to go over that idea of this 5-wave move down in a little bit. Just want to cover off these main ideas that we're looking for. Now, the thing is, if we are looking for that C wave to that downside, what we need to be careful here is that we could still be looking for a bigger breakdown, where we could potentially be looking to target out this 27,059, saying that we're getting some extension within these waves, saying that this effectively is 1, 2. Now, it could be that this is 1 and 2 into this point, and then we're looking for this bigger third wave, or alternatively 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, this is where the problem comes in. We could argue this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is still also a valid count, in which case what we'd be getting is another fourth and a fifth. Now, if that is the case, effectively what we'd be looking for here would be a fourth wave and then that continuation down. If we are looking at this in this way, we'd want to see these targets get hit though. Really, I want to see, price move down towards this 27,059. Otherwise, it's starting to look like it is just corrective structure to the downside. So we need to just see if price will actually confirm this idea here, where we could be looking for this break to the downside in a bigger way. Now, if we are looking at this move over here, saying that we're looking at this as potentially a 1 and a 2, the problem then becomes is how we count this. So we'd have to then count this as W, X, A, B, and C. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be looking for then is our high point to be here, and we'd be saying that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we need to see another fifth wave to the downside to confirm that, because at the moment we just have three-wave structure. The alternative would be that we are still within this wave 2 and we're forming something like a flat, where we could still see price push up towards this zone of this 30,025 to this 29,596. But until we actually break back above these highs here, the likelihood becomes that we're going to see continuation to the downside. So that's why we need to just see how we react down here, but it is not looking good. Looks like we do still have some continuation and at least another low here to come on the short term. If we are looking at the internals of this move to the downside, what we could say is that I've got this marked out in two ways. So the blue count would be if we are looking at this as either a triangle completed into this high over here, or alternatively this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking to complete that as a flat correction. So the blue count is the one that I'm most interested in at the moment, and what I'm looking for here is the potential that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now this would be invalidated by breaking back above this 29,101, but what we'd have to be careful of here is that this doesn't become 1, 2, we get another 1, 2 here, and then we look to break down in a bigger way. So until we break this wave too high here at this 29,347, I'm going to be very cautious of this idea of continuation to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this as a fourth wave, the target we wouldn't really want to see this go above is this 29,031. That would be our 50% of the wave 3. If we do see price reject off this level, then we'd be looking for this 28,651 to this 28,540 level. And then from that point, what we'd want to see is whether we get this additional yellow fourth wave and this fifth wave to the downside. So it's going to be important here, if we do get a fourth and a fifth, to watch that previous fourth wave area. We could see something like this develop where we get some kind of a double top in this zone and then look to push down for that fifth wave. Now the thing is, if we do see price actually push down in this way, this would not actually be enough to confirm that idea of the breakdown, because like I said, we need to see a move down towards this 27,448 within this count. So if we do just get a move down like that, where we get this as 1, 2, and we get that move down towards that 1 to 1, this would then mean that, effectively this could just be ABC, and we get this as a three-wave move. Now that would fit into our corrective count from further back here. We're going to go over that in a second, but if we are looking for this impulsive move down here, what we need to see for confirmation would be a move down towards this zone here, this 27,448, for confirmation of this idea of a break to the downside in this way. So one thing that we have to be a little bit careful of here is within this idea here, what we were saying is that we could see something like a zigzag in this wave, where we're saying that this is A, this is B, and then we're looking for this C wave to the downside. Now we also can potentially put this B wave over here, and what this would then mean is that potentially if we do have a triangle over here, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we need to be on the lookout for this option. If we have something like this, where this is actually 1, 2, this is 3, we have 4, and then we have this as a fifth wave to the downside. Now that's whether we're looking at this triangle as A, B, C, D, and E, or alternatively even in this way of A, B, C, D, and E. and then we have this as a fifth. We have come down into this target box area that we were discussing. Now, it is possible that if we do complete into this high over here, rather as a triangle, we could have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we still have one more drop, which could bring us down deeper into this level. Alternatively, if this has already completed from over here, what we could start to see is price move to the upside. Now, if that is that idea of this as a bigger W and X and a Y, where this is A, B, and C, that could still align with that idea of the push to the upside in this C wave. So this is why I've not written this off completely. It is starting to look very unlikely given the size of the structure here. But effectively, what we need to be careful of is that if this is a triangle here, that could actually do it for this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then effectively, we just have a 3-wave move here. So that's what I'm looking out for. If we are looking for that reversal, what we need to do is get back above these highs first. And then we need to see how that wave actually develops. If we do just get a 5-wave move to the upside here, where this move becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this, and then we see 3 waves to the downside, this could align with the idea that this move is actually just completed as a WXY, where this is W, X, and Y, and that could just be that wave 2 situation. Or alternatively, you know, if we do get 5 waves up here and we start to see 5 waves to the downside, this would align still with this idea of having this bigger flat correction in this space. So it is looking a bit unlikely at the moment, but we'll have to keep an eye on it because when things start to get complex like this, you know, they can evolve. So within this idea of this move over here still being part of another structure, what we could see is within one of the accounts we were talking about that possibility that we could complete into this low. Now, if we do complete into that low, effectively what we would be saying here is that this could actually be W, this could be X, this could be Y. Now, we did come down to this 0.618 here, and we'd be saying that this is A, B, and C into this area. Now, it is always possible here. We could see some extension, and we could see this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. But until we actually get that confirmation, I'm just being mindful that because we're looking at something that is looking like a complex correction here, what we could get is that this could still be our A wave. We start to get a 3-wave move to the upside here, and then we still see another 3-wave move to the downside. Now that would align with that WXY count, and what that would mean is that this would be our A wave, we'd get a B wave up and a C wave to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this as an ABC, potentially what we need to be careful of, if we get something like a flat here, we could see price do something like this, in which case we could push up into this typical extended B wave area, which would be this 32,473 to this 31,431 before seeing an additional push to the downside, making this A, B, and C. So we need to just keep an eye on this. Like I said, until we actually break back above these highs, the likelihood is looking more like we're going to see that direct push to the downside at least one more time here, and then see how we react from those levels. Really, until we start breaking back above these highs, we need to just be careful of that continuation pattern to the downside. But if we do see a flat correction start to develop here, we could start to align with this count a little bit more. Now, what that would effectively look like here is something like this. Now, we were talking about this idea in yesterday's video when we were saying that the structure could be developing into something more complex here, where effectively we have this as a W and we're still within a bigger B wave here. Now, this potential would mean that we're looking for a 5-wave move to the upside. So this would only be confirmed by actually continuing to hold this low here and see price push up. Technically speaking, if we look at this idea of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, this could still align with this idea. The problem is that the B wave would start to get quite large in comparison to this A wave, but it's still within the realms of possibility. So if we do find support here within this 28,861 to this 28,551, we could still potentially see 5 waves to the upside. So we need to watch this move here because we did come down to this 1382 level already, looking at this as A, B, and C. So if we do look at this idea of having one more move down here, it wouldn't invalidate this. It would just make it quite large in comparison to this A wave. But nonetheless, if we start to see 5 waves up, we're going to still have to be cautious with this idea in play here, because if we do see 3, 3, 5, this could still align with having continuation to the downside here, which could mean that we're starting to extend out here. Now, within this, if we do see a 3, 3, 5 like this, what we need to see if we're going to have confirmation of additional continuation is we want to see a 3-wave move to the downside here, and then we want to see another 5-wave move follow this. But even another 5-wave move following something like this wouldn't be enough to confirm this, because if this is a wave, we could still get 3 waves down, and then we could get a 5-wave push to the upside, and that would align with that idea what we went over, saying if this is something like this, this is an A, this is a B, and we're looking for a C wave still, this could still align with the idea of, you know, breaking down one more time at a later date, even after we get a 5-wave move here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 waves down, another 5-wave move like this, because effectively this could then become A, B, and then C to the upside. So we're going to have to just keep an eye on this. At the moment, the primary way that I'm looking at this is that downside is more likely. And, you know, there's many ways that we can look at this downside playing out. It's going to be interesting to see if we manage to hit those more impulsive targets. If we don't, what we need to be on the lookout for is, because we're looking for a zigzag here, potentially, if we're going to say that, you know, this is W, this is X, and then we're looking for a Y wave, what we could start to see here is something like a diagonal playing out, where this actually becomes A, this is B, and then we look to form some kind of a diagonal to the downside, where we say, what we could get is something along these lines. So I'm actually just going to turn the zigzag off for a second, where what we could get within the last bit of the structure is that this could be A, B, C, and we get another move down, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially. Then we see 3 waves up, then we see 3 waves down, then we see 3 waves up, then we see another 3 waves to the downside. Something like this developing, looking to form a contracting wedge at the end here. Ending diagonals tend to take a lot of time to play out. Now, we could also argue within this structure that, you know, you could say that, well, this could be ABC and this could be your wave 1. The problem that I have with counting it like that is effectively this area over here starts to become really hard to count as a zigzag pattern, which is what you want to see when you're looking for diagonals. You want to see the internals be clean zigzags. Now, I mean, it is possible that could be a diagonal for an A, this is a B, and then we have a really short C here. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. It is possible that could be 1, 2, we're going to get 3, 4, and then another 3-wave move for a 5th wave. The idea would still be the same here. You know, we'd be looking for a break of the trend line back to the upside for more confirmation that you know, something like this was completed. Okay, so to wrap things up, what I'm looking for here in the shorter term to see which one of these is going to confirm is looking for this idea of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If we fail to break back above this 29,031, then the likelihood is we're going to see a 5-wave move to the downside here. If we do get this 5-wave move to the downside here, then it's going to be important what happens next. If at that point we start to develop 5-wave structure to the upside, then that idea of that flat could be in play, where we could see this move look to complete, and then we either look to break down in 5 waves, or alternatively we break down in 3 waves and then we look to continue back to the upside. If, however, we complete this blue 5th wave here and we get another 4th and a 5th, this would then align with the idea that this move actually starts from this point here, and then we'd have to see how we react once again here. The problem is we need to be very careful of that idea of extension, because as long as we remain below these highs here, effectively we need to be very cautious of this bigger idea of this breakdown here, where what we're saying is that we could be setting up for this idea of a bigger wave 3 to the downside, where we're looking for this 27,448 as a target. So if we start to see this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like this, this could look to push us down into those levels. So we need to be careful that until we actually start breaking these highs, the likelihood is looking to the downside, but we need to respect that idea that we did find support in that B wave area here. Even if we get one more push down here and we start to break back to the upside, we could still be looking for that potential of a little bit of a squeeze here, looking to catch some late shorts in this area before that continuation to the downside. Alternatively, if we do complete this as a 5-wave move down here, we also need to be very careful of that idea that, like I said, that we could have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, in which case we could start to see a bigger price movement to the upside. So if this is the case and we have something like this, what we'd be expecting to see then is some smaller structure developing at the lower end of this, potentially 1s and 2s, and then starting to see price look to squeeze to the upside. So that's going to be the key thing here. This is why these highs are important, and we need to see how we develop in these areas. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.